Hi, it's happened to see another video, and this one was a surprise to me. And this has to do with my mother, who's 94 years old. And she never told me any of this, and now she tells me all this. She tells me out of the blue. She tells me two stories. One of them, both of them have to do with previous lives. And I have to tell you, it's not her. She does. I mean, all these years, she never told me anything about this. We never really kind of discussed this kind of stuff, and all of a sudden, she talks about it. And I don't know if she's 94 years old, and she knows I'm a chaplain. But this time we were on Skype, and we just started talking, and she brings this up out of the blue. I kid you not, it was totally surprised to me. She brought this up. But let me just, what's really important is to give you a little bit of background about her. She's 94, so she was around during Hitler, World War II. And we're Austrian, and she was, her family, or our family, or her family basically were pretty well known in Austria because they had a political influence in the government. When Hitler took over, they were hunting it for for her family, and they got him, except for her. And because of the help of some other people, she hid in a closet for a year. And they were looking for her, and they wanted to make sure that she was no more. They didn't want any offspring. They wanted to, clean house. They didn't want anybody from, anybody had any political influence whatsoever. Hitler kept a very tight rein on any country that he took over. But they were looking for her for a year, and she hid in the closet. As I said, there were some family members, people that helped her out for the year. And so, it's quite a story, but she's only 13 years old. But let me go and continue on this, because at this point, she only spoke Austrian, or part of German, and she knew nothing about English whatsoever. And during her sleep, some of the comments they got from the family members who were helping her out, she talked perfect English. Out of nowhere, she had no, she didn't know any English whatsoever. But during the night when she was sleeping, they heard her speak English, and they didn't know what was going on. They kind of opened the door, and there she's talking English. But let me go ahead and continue a little bit further on that. And it's a little unclear on the English part of it, but there's another part of it. She was talking about another previous life. And the other previous life has to do with, and the interesting thing about it, what it has to do with is being on where there's a lot of body of water. And she's on an island of some kind, so anytime she had to go somewhere, she had to use the water. She had to go through the water. And my best guess is that it seemed kind of future what she was talking about, so she may have gone underwater to whatever she was going to. But the world was just really, it was surrounded by water. The thing that I found interesting in her discussion about when she was talking about it is that sometimes she would look herself in the mirror. And she had a different face, but she knew that was her. And the way she described the location that she was at, kind of like the Greek islands, the buildings were very white, and the water. And she always described this, the sky just being very, very blue, but it was there was a lot of body of water. Again, what I found interesting that when she looked at herself in the mirror, she knew it was her, but she saw a different face. And why she brought this up, right? It was just a total surprise. We were on Skype, and we're just talking, keeping in touch with her. She's 94 years old, and she just brought this up, and our discussion really thereafter was really kind of intriguing. But I got to tell you, she doesn't talk about these things, and it was really it was a real surprise to me. But what's interesting is that we've had discussions before about previous lives. And, when we're brought into this world, we have it temporarily erased all the stuff that we knew before we were born. And in her case, the memory comes back, and she has the same dream over again about being on the Greek, kind of like a Greek island, sort of, white buildings, going through the water. But it's consistent. She has it all through her life. Yeah, and again, she never talked about it to me. And she finally did until now. But anyway, and there's another thing, too, that we were talking about World War II, and I'm going to show you a photograph. And this is part of a movie scene that it was back in the 1947. I don't know the name of the movie directly. I don't know if you can see it. But anyway, and I'm just kind of pointing it. But I got to tell you, when I saw this, something triggered my mind. And it kind of like, it's like I guess the better way to describe it, there was something back in World War II, even for my life, that I had a previous life during that time. And I don't know how to explain it to you. I just don't know. But I remember that when I saw the film and I saw that scene, it triggered that something in the back of my mind. There was some sort of a memory attached to that scene. But anyway, as I said, we talked about this too, about previous lives, and that we kind of decide what the life is going to be like. We have some sort of a knowledge before we were born into this life. And but I just found it interesting. Here's my mother, who's 94 years old, and she tells me all of a sudden, out of the blue, we're Skyping again, and when I tell you, she just tells me this story. But anyway, it's just, it was interesting, and, it kind of exemplifies what we have talked about before in other videos about previous lives. And here's my mother. She tells me this story about two of them. One, she speaks English, and I don't know what the attachment to that is, but also too about this, body of water, just, kind of like the Greek islands. But anyway, I'm just going to, I wanted to share it with you, and I thought it was interesting. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off here, and I appreciate your time. As always, I hope your day is going well, and until the next video, thanks again.